I want to ask you in terms of comparing different eras, so like the 80s to 90s to the 2000s. In your line of working with your just peers and contemporaries, what is kind of the key in breaking down or just comparing different eras within the NBA to make it kind of a powerful argument to really get into the nitty gritty of who is better? Do you think that's even possible?
Yes, it's possible. You just have to be able to do so intelligently. What you cannot do is take surface value per game or total stats and compare them across eras. Because, look, you're a basketball expert. You know this as well as I do, but I'll say it out loud for your audience, some of whom are curious about these things, I would imagine. Basketball, the way it's been played, the way it's been officiated, the tempo at which it's been played, the way in which the 3-point shot has spiked, these things have changed considerably over the course of time. Comparing George Gervin's scoring average to Jason Tatum's scoring average can only be done intelligently if you do the best that you can to neutralize the context. Bradley Beal averaging 30 points a game in the 2020s is very different than Oscar Robertson averaging 30 points a game in the 70s. The same can be said about anyone's rebounding totals, whereas before the 3-point shot, all of those totals were through the roof. How about things that happened before the shot clock in 1955? They're not apples to apples. What you need to have is a deeply historical perspective on what is happening. So what I like to do is neutralize as much as I can. What are your scoring averages per minute, per possession? What is your team scoring output per minute, per possession? Let's neutralize the context. Let's control for the environment. And if we're able to do that, I think you can have much more cogent arguments as to who's better than who, comparing teams, comparing eras. I think the fact that the Warriors won as much as they did in a 30-team league is incredibly hard to do. I don't think it's greater than the Celtics winning 11 championships in a 13-season span. However, the league is more than twice as large as it was then. So there wasn't nearly as much competition for the Celtics, hence why they had such a stranglehold over the league, especially considering they were able to retain so many of their best players, because that, of course, was in an area before free agency. So all it takes is a cogent understanding of basketball history, the eras, the adjusted stats, and all of those things. It doesn't take that much work. It does, however, take an honesty and a curiosity that many people aren't willing to explore.
Is that criteria what you carry over to this making good debate overall? I mean, you see this, as I mentioned earlier, firsthand through all the programming ESPN has. They have linked into that. One of my favorite shows ever, PTI. I grew up watching that show, and just Wilbon and Kornheiser really be I think, pioneers in that space. I would say even before then with the sports reporters, but I think taking PTI and the sports reporters to now where there's first take, and now just with the internet blowing up, where do you see kind of the era of sports debate now? And then from that, are there any kind of tips would you give to a lot of people with hot takes and them trying to impersonate different people on ESPN and want to kind of get to that spot where they might have their own show someday?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. Here's what I would say about sports debate, at least in this country. It has never generated more interest. It has never been more popular. It has also never been more homogenous. And so what I tell young people that ask me questions similar to the one that you just told me is, what can I do to demonstrate that I'm a little different, that I'm a little set apart, that I'm a little specialized? And so you're talking to someone who never played a day of professional sports in his life, obviously. You're talking to a very ordinary looking person, a person who grew up loving sports just like you did. So what I have decided for me personally, I'm not going to howl at the moon. I'm not going to be the person that goes viral on ESPN's YouTube because I name called or did anything of the kind, because I screamed louder than anyone else. I am going to get the most traction in what I do because I have the ability to make numbers sing, because I have the ability to use research to tell stories. Very, very long ago, almost as soon as I got to ESPN, 10 years ago now it's been, like everyone in my department at the time, Stats and Info, implored to people that just got there, how are we making the sports fan smarter? So what I've tried to do from the time in which I've been exclusively off the air to now largely on the air is do that. How can I make the sports fan smarter? Not just in providing information, but in providing the context, in providing the nuance, and be able to provide in digestible, fluent ways, allowing a number to sing. How does Joel Embiid's per minute scoring average compare to Bob McAdoo's the last time a center led the NBA in scoring in 3 consecutive seasons? That's the magic. Anyone can go to someone's basketball reference page, see stuff in bold, and know that it's good. Not everyone can do the extra step or two and determine exactly what it means. Anyone now with the internet can find the what, but can you demonstrate the how, or the when, or the why? If you can do those things, you are going to be set apart from 95% of your peers.